Bring in my next guest, Vehbi Baysan. He joins me in the studio. He's an associate professor of history at Haldun University.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being with us on this
Pleasure.
historic and important day. Let me get your feelings.
Well, I don't know how to describe. Everyone I can see at our university students quite excited because centenary, it's like if you even sit down and counting decade by decade, it's still a long time, and Turkey had achieved that republic sense of democratization as well as participation in the democratic process. I think from that angle, being in this such a, I will give you the example from the 15th century sociologist Ibn Haldun. He says, the geography is your destiny. And Turkey, if you look at it, what's happening in our southern part of territories in the Middle East, as well as take it from Syria, Iraq, Iran, and then you go in Ukraine and Bulgaria, Yunan, Greece. So among all these difficulties, Turkey managed to achieve that process and achieved it very successfully. So you can see everybody is excited because at least this gave the sense of participating, if you wish to, in the political arena, as well as being a citizen for which you try to contribute to your nation to take it further or elevate the existing institutions. So from that angle, when we talk, these are the words, of course, most of it don't belong to me. These are the things students told me because for the last couple of weeks, we keep asking them what they think and how they feel, and especially how they feel the Turkey is progressing and where it's heading to. So therefore, to sum up, it's a great excitement.
Right, that tells a lot, given that it's the younger generation that's expressing these emotions and feelings on the centenary of Türkiye. Talk to us a bit about the Turkish army's great accomplishments that has brought us to celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Republic.
Well, if you look at it, I think there's a very critical point. The founder of Turkish, founding father, let's say, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, he was an army general and a career officer, as you can see, and joined in the Dardanelles, in Çanakkale, and great experiences in the even the Libyan Trablusgarp, we say, all the way to Libya, North Africa. And these people quite mobilized when they were serving in the army. But what he did is quite remarkable and should be underlined and highlighted. Once the Republic was announced and established, of course, the new institutions started or being introduced, let's say, or some of them modified. But one thing remarkable he did was he took off his army jacket and put the civilian one, and that's how he initiated the reforms. I think that's extremely important. He did not do it as a soldier.
Right.
You see, so it was a civilian process in a sense, but having the support and, of course, the help and assistance of the army. So in that regard, when we come to today, you can see our army career officers are more global, more engaged to the global issues, as well as we're aware of their tradition and where the Turkey is geostrategically located.
Right, that brings me to my next question, because the new republic's ideal of peace at home and peace in the world, it served as a model for Turkey's foreign policy, and we see that today as well, don't we?
Well, we do, and we should also mention the difficulties. I mean, especially what's going on in the last couple of weeks in this region, and how difficult it is to continue having that peaceful approach with your neighbors and other initiatives as well. And also we should here mention the Turkey's role as mediator, and it was a great achievement, for example, when the President, Mr. Erdogan, did something very important, the grain deal, if you remember. I'll bring it to the Ukraine because all the international institutions failed to achieve it, what he using his personal contacts and visiting some of the leaders, and he did it. So that's absolutely very important, and I think Turkey's role as a strong and dependable and trustable mediator in the region is absolutely very, very important. So in that, I think that very much relies on 100 years ago, what had been said, as you quoted, peace at home, first we establish it here, and then peace with your neighbors. So that in centenary, I think, had not many exceptions, or if at all. So that's why it's important.
Right, and looking forward to the century of Türkiye, and this century that's now currently being led by the Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, he is being seen as one of the most influential leaders in the world. So what do you expect moving forward under the leadership of Erdogan?
Well, what's expected when you look at it is the process that Turkey, in the one hand, very much investing in its education system, and also bring in new rules and regulations to make our higher education institutions to achieve more, and especially in the area of academic research, specifically the scientific research. You can see that a lot of funds available, and that's extremely important, where in many parts of the world, these funds for the scientific research very much, getting less and less everywhere. So it is very important, but let me say it, as academics, we always expect more. So that's, and ready to give the system. So that's the great achievement. And another one is, I think, Turkey is very much as being part of Europe, but in a sense, not the European Union, but we are part of Erasmus, so our education is higher education is very much engaged in these European institutions, and hundreds and thousands of students in the last 2 decades coming to Turkey, and hundreds and thousands going back there. What is good about it is that these students are having first-hand experience being in Europe, Turkish students I mean, and they can experience what is it to be in an academic environment, as well as the European students, many of them never been outside their cities, coming to a metropole like Istanbul or Ankara or Izmir, and having again a first-hand experience, what is it to be studying in another country other than or outside Europe, considered in Anatolia. So that's, I think, they keep investing. I can see that. As I said, we always expect more, no doubt about that. But these things, I mean, having funds available, and our students now very much talking about, well, in my second year, I want to go to here and go there.
Right.
When we were studying, we didn't have that.
Right. Well, let me just bring our attention back to these live pictures out of Ankara, where the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is receiving greetings on the 100th anniversary of the Republic. I mean, this is a big deal for this country in the sense that it continues to hit milestones, and especially in recent years. You're talking about the region and Turkey's stance in the region, especially with what we've seen happen in the last couple of weeks in Gaza. How do you think Türkiye is being perceived from the outside world 100 years on?
Well, I mean, 100 years on, when you look at the other world countries, they had very many different experiences. But one thing we should underline again, and there are many things, but what I really discuss with my students is that whatever we did in this 100 years, we did it by ourselves, for ourselves. This is to say that Turkey or the Turks never got occupied. So we don't have that thing to have a reference. So therefore, with our mistakes, failures, and success, it's ours. I think that's what matters for us, and we are still trying to do it better. But it is important. It's important that especially in during the World War I or thereafter, many countries today, nation states, had very different experiences being under this control or that countries or that superpowers mandate or whatever. So we know Africa had a different, as a continent, had a different experience, as well as Southeast Asia, namely India, and they paid high prices for this. So when it comes to Turkey or this part of the world, we had a remarkable multinational, multi-ethnical empire existed 650 years. And in my view, that empire symbolizes a very good example of coexistence with different cultures, with different faith systems. And that was inherited by the Republic. And during that transitional period, but please take the quote-unquote transitional because there was enormous difficulties when Ottoman Empire faced a lot of difficulties, and eventually it was collapsed, and a new state emerged there with the roots from Ottoman Empire. So we can see that it's the continuation, because entire decision makers, all of them, including Atatürk, studied in the schools of Ottoman Empire. Right. So we can't deny that. So from that perspective, when you look at it, I mean, yes, briefly Istanbul as a capital became under Allied controls, etc. But this is not the occupation I'm talking about. The occupation that would infiltrate into all the institutions, etc., and probably make you one of them. We didn't have that. So we didn't have the point of reference from that angle. Probably we were very lucky that we had many references to implement, adapt. So I think this should be well seen and understood, because yes, we had difficulties. Yes, we had ups and downs, but you can see now Turkey is moving on the right direction. As I said, the government, the state, the system investing heavily in education and pushing not only the professors, but students to produce projects, more projects, learn more. We are behind you. So that's, right, I think, quite important.
All right. Professor Vehbi Baysan, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you for that.